5. Awful habits that make people disrespect you. Why people disrespect you, and how to fix it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt invisible? Like you're talking, but no one's really listening? Like people cut you off mid-sentence, ignore your ideas, or just straight up don't take you seriously? Maybe they roll their eyes when you speak, walk all over you, or act like your time doesn't matter. And the worst part? You don't even know why. Here's the truth that no one tells you. Disrespect isn't random. It's a reaction. And sometimes, without even realizing it, we train people to treat us that way. I know that sounds harsh, but stay with me. Because today, I'm going to break down 5 awful habits that make people disrespect you. Habits that once you see them, you'll never unsee. And better yet, I'll show you exactly how to stop them. So, if you've ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or just plain disrespected, this is for you. Let's get into it. Part 1. Being too nice. The people-pleaser trap. Let's start with a hard truth. Being too nice can make people lose respect for you. Now, before you get defensive, let me explain. There's nothing wrong with being kind. In fact, kindness is one of the most powerful traits a person can have. But there's a difference between being kind and being a doormat. The story of the too nice friend. Let me tell you about a friend I used to have. We'll call him Jake. Jake was the nicest guy in the world. He would drop everything to help a friend move, always say yes to favors, and never, ever complain. You'd think people would love him for it, right? Wrong. Instead of respecting Jake, people took advantage of him. They expected him to say yes. They used his time without appreciating it. They pushed his boundaries. And because he never said no, they pushed even further. And the worst part? The moment Jake finally did stand up for himself, people got mad. Why? Because when you train people to expect unlimited access to you, they don't see your kindness as a strength anymore. They see it as weakness. Why being too nice backfires? People subconsciously value what they have to work for. If you give too much for free, people assume you have nothing valuable to offer. Niceness without boundaries makes you look desperate for approval, and desperation kills respect. People respect those who respect themselves. If you don't respect your own time, why would anyone else? The fix. How to be kind without being disrespected. Say no without feeling guilty. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time. Set boundaries and enforce them. If someone constantly asks for favors but never returns them, cut them off. Respect yourself first. When you value your own time and energy, others will too. Challenge. Try saying no to one small request this week. Notice how people react. And more importantly, notice how you feel. Now let's move on to habit number 2. Talking too much. Because if you think words automatically earn you respect, think again. Part 2. Talking too much without saying anything of value. Ever met someone who just won't stop talking? Maybe they overshare, interrupt, or ramble without a point. Maybe they dominate conversations, but never really say anything important. Be honest. Do you respect those people? Probably not. Why talking too much hurts you? People tune you out. When you talk constantly, your words lose value. You look insecure. Over-explaining or talking too much often comes from nervousness. People pick up on that. Powerful people speak with intention. Think about the most respected leaders. Do they ramble? Or do they speak clearly and let their words sink in? The power of silence. Here's something nobody tells you. Silence is a power move. Next time you're in a conversation, try this. Say what you need to say. Then stop talking. Let the silence hang for a moment. Watch what happens. Most people feel uncomfortable with silence. They'll rush to fill it. And if you stay calm and in control, they'll listen to you more. How to fix this habit? Pause before you speak. Ask yourself, is this adding value? Use fewer words. Instead of a 2-minute explanation, say it in one sentence. Listen more than you talk. You'll be shocked at how much more people respect you when you let them speak first. Challenge. In your next conversation, try talking 50% less than usual. Notice how the other person reacts. Part 3. Seeking validation, needing others to approve of you. Let's talk about one of the biggest respect killers of all time, needing constant approval. I get it. We all want to feel seen, valued, and appreciated. That's human. But the moment you need others to approve of you, you give them power over you. The validation trap. Imagine this. You post a picture on Instagram. If it gets 100 likes, you feel good. If it gets 10 likes, you start wondering, was the picture bad? Do people not like me? Should I delete it? Sound familiar? Or maybe you're in a conversation, and instead of saying what you truly think, you adjust your opinion to match the group, because deep down, you're afraid of standing out. Here's the problem. The more you seek validation, the less people respect you. Why seeking approval hurts you? People can sense desperation, and desperation repels respect. It makes you look uncertain. If you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? It puts your value in someone else's hands. And that's a dangerous place for it to be. The mindset shift. Self-validation over external approval. Here's what you need to understand. You don't need permission to be confident. The most respected people, they don't wait for others to tell them they're good enough. They decide they are. How to fix this habit? Stop fishing for compliments. Instead of, "Do you think I did okay?" Try, "I'm proud of the work I did." Make decisions without asking for opinions. Trust your gut. Remind yourself daily, "I don't need approval. I approve of myself." Challenge. Go one full day without seeking anyone's approval. No asking, "Do I look okay?" or "Was that good?" Just own your choices. Now let's move on to habit number 4. Never standing up for yourself. Because if you don't demand respect, you won't get it. Part 4. Never standing up for yourself. Fear of conflict. Let's say someone cuts in front of you in line. Do you A. Say nothing and let it slide? B. Politely but firmly say, "Hey, I was next." If you picked A, you might think you're being nice. But what you're actually doing is teaching people that it's okay to ignore you. The silent disrespect. Disrespect doesn't always come in loud, obvious ways. Sometimes it's in the small moments, the jokes at your expense, the friend who never texts back, the coworker who takes credit for your work. And if you never push back, people assume you're okay with it. Why avoiding conflict kills? Respect people. Test boundaries. If you never enforce yours, they'll keep pushing. You train others to treat you as unimportant. Respect comes from assertiveness, not silence. How I learned to stand up for myself. I used to avoid conflict at all costs. If someone interrupted me, I'd just let them. If a waiter got my order wrong, I'd eat it anyway. If someone made a rude comment, I'd laugh it off, even though it bothered me. Then one day, I made a small change. I corrected someone. It wasn't aggressive, I didn't make a scene, I just calmly said, "Actually, I wasn't finished speaking." And guess what? The entire energy in the room shifted, because people don't expect you to stand up for yourself. But when you do, it changes the way they see you. How to fix this habit? Speak up when something bothers you, even if it's uncomfortable. Set boundaries and enforce them. Don't just say, "I don't like when people do that." Make it clear that it won't be tolerated. Start with small confrontations. The next time someone talks over you, keep talking. Challenge. In the next week, stand up for yourself once in a situation where you normally wouldn't. Then watch how people react. Part 5. Lacking self-respect. Letting others treat you poorly. Let's get real for a second. If you don't respect yourself, why would anyone else? That's the harsh reality. People will only treat you as well as you treat yourself. If you accept disrespect, if you make excuses for people who mistreat you, if you constantly put yourself last, you are silently telling the world that this is okay. And here's the kicker. People believe you. The invisible signs of low self-respect. Self-respect isn't just about how you talk to yourself. It's about what you tolerate. Do you let people cancel plans on you repeatedly without saying anything? Do you keep chasing after people who don't put effort into you? Do you let others talk down to you because you're afraid of making things awkward? These might seem small, but they add up. Every time you let these things slide, you reinforce the idea that your feelings, your time, and your needs don't matter. How I realized I was disrespecting myself. I used to have a friend. Let's call him Chris. Chris would constantly cancel on me at the last minute. "Bro, something came up," he'd text, 5 minutes before we were supposed to meet. At first, I let it go. Then it happened again. And again. Until one day I finally asked myself, if I did this to him, would he tolerate it? The answer: no. So I did something different. The next time he texted, I didn't just brush it off. I said, "Hey, I don't mind rescheduling once in a while, but I feel like my time isn't being respected here. If you're not serious about making plans, let's not make them." Chris never canceled on me again. Why? Because I set the standard. I showed him that I respected myself. And when you respect yourself, others follow your lead. How to fix this habit, starting today. Stop making excuses for people who mistreat you. If they cared, they wouldn't need constant forgiveness. Set the bar higher. You don't have to tolerate people who don't respect your time, your boundaries, or your feelings. Walk away from anyone who won't meet your standards. Self-respect means understanding that you deserve better and acting on it. Challenge. Identify one area in your life where you've been tolerating disrespect and stop. Whether it's a flaky friend, a toxic coworker, or even how you talk to yourself, make the change today. Conclusion. The respect mindset shift. Let me leave you with one final, undeniable truth. Respect starts with you. It's not about demanding it. It's not about forcing people to treat you well. It's about showing up differently, moving through the world in a way that commands respect without saying a word. Because when you respect yourself first, the world follows. The shift that changes everything. I want you to think about the most respected person you know. What is it about them? Is it their confidence? The way they set boundaries? The fact that they don't let people walk all over them? Now ask yourself, what would that version of you do? If you respected yourself fully, completely, unapologetically, would you let people waste your time? Would you over-explain yourself? Would you let someone talk down to you? No, because the person who respects themselves would never allow it. Your new standard starts today. You don't need to wait for people to change. You don't need to wait for some magical moment. You are in control. Starting today, You stop people-pleasing. You are kind, but not at the cost of your self-worth. You speak with intention. No more over-explaining. No more filling silence with nervous words. You validate yourself. You don't need permission to be confident. You stand up for yourself, even in small ways, even when it's uncomfortable. You raise your standards. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. The final challenge: will you take control? The world will not hand you respect. You have to claim it. So here's my final challenge for you. Pick one habit from this list and commit to changing it. Today, right now, drop it in the comments. Let's keep each other accountable. And if this hit home for you, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and remember, respect yourself, and the world will respect you. See you in the next one.